Hey everyone, it's Joe from greenlightsound.com, and in today's video we're going to take the next step in the Andy Wallace mixing bass process. If you haven't seen my first video about the EQ trick he uses with the Neve 1073 and the SSL-G series, check that out. I'll put a link in the description below for that one. But this doesn't actually rely on plugins. The next step in the process is very characteristic of Andy Wallace's mixing techniques, and that is automation. Andy Wallace automates nearly everything in the mix. Those who have seen him mix see the faders laid out in front of him on the SSL-G series console, moving all over the place. So this involves taking your bass DI signal and your bass amp signal and leaning on each one a little bit more to get the character you want. So for example, if you've got too much low end coming from the DI, the very clean low end coming from the DI, you bring down the DI fader a bit. On the other hand, at the same time, you push up the amp fader a little bit more to get some more of that gritty characteristic, a little bit less low end in the amp signal. Basically, these two things work in tandem. The two faders you see right here on the left are the bass DI. Here is the bass amp signal. You can see the automation lanes written on the tracks right above here. I already automated these. So the first thing I'm going to do is play a couple bars of this without the automation. I'm going to turn the automation off. Here it is with just that processing we did in the last video. So when the bass is moving down to some of the lower notes in that example, you can hear a little bit, maybe too much low end coming out from that bass boost we did. So when you engage the automation, I brought that down a little bit in the DI signal, pushed the amp signal up a bit to balance things out, and you basically get this complementary automation where whenever you're bringing the DI down, the amp's going up a bit. Whenever you're bringing the amp down, the DI is going up a bit, and kind of filling out and evening out the characteristics of the bass tone. So I'll drop that automation on. And here's the same example with the automation. Check out the faders here if you want to see how the automation's moving. So it's just a few dB here or there. It's not huge automation changes, but it's really evening out that bass part. Especially listen to those last couple of notes. Here it is again, automation off. A little bit out of control. Automation in. Just a little bit more controlled. So there it is, a really simple automation trick where you lean a little bit more on the DI or the amp signal when mixing bass to kind of even things out and bring out the characteristics of the bass you want. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already so we can keep you in the loop as to what's coming up next, and I'll see you in the next one.